Hello and welcome to the Entrepreneurial Edge. I'm Chris Bishop. Now I'm sure almost all of you out there have sat at your desk sometime and gazed into the distance and thought about leaving your job and starting your own business and working for yourself. Now this is exactly what this week's entrepreneur did. He did more than just dream. Adam Orlin quit a very comfortable job with a South African finance house to set up as an entrepreneur with his own company, Strata, which deals in imports. How did he do it? Well, let's take a look at what he does.
Strata is a company that specializes in import business. It started its operations in 2001. The company started small with 3 to 4 employees, but it has grown from strength to strength with currently 120 employees.
Strata was started by Adam Orlin in roughly 2001 as an import business, basically specializing in importing goods into South Africa. Strata is really an import and working capital specialist, and we offer a fully integrated solution for importers into South Africa.
The company imports lots of different products on behalf of its clients and tracks the transaction from the order until it reaches the client.
We really offer an end-to-end solution for importers. So essentially what we will do is for our customers, we will basically import the goods which they have previously sourced. We will manage the entire import transaction, and that includes all the different aspects of that transaction, from the logistics to the order management to the tariffing, the clearing, the transport, the freight, etc. Up until delivery of those goods to our customer's warehouse. We will then obviously also provide the customer with a detailed costing and a rand invoice for those goods.
The company's target market ranges from companies importing in excess of 10 million rand and upwards.
Our target market are really any company importing goods into South Africa. So we deal with various different companies. We import in lots of different products on their behalf, anything from steel to industrial products to consumer products to foodstuffs. And really we look at companies importing in excess of 10 million rand a year. Anything upwards is really what our target market is.
Despite the challenges that the company has encountered, significant growth has been observed.
Sure, it's grown significantly over the years. So, it really started off and grew from one really import transaction for a particular clothing order essentially, to the point now where Strata's got, a few hundred customers, and we're importing between 4 to 5 billion rands of goods annually.
Now in the studio here we have the man himself, Adam Orlin. So was it like that, or were you just looking out the window one day and you thought, well, enough, I want to work for myself?
Yeah, I think it probably happened a little earlier. Probably happened when I was at school, daydreaming a little bit. Looking out the window, I think I always had big dreams.
Well, everyone looks at you now as a successful businessman from once being an employee, but what was the first step once you'd made that choice?
I think the first step that I think I would encourage entrepreneurs to do is that I think you've got to get off the bus to catch the next bus. So you need to make that tough decision about what you really want to do and where you really want to go. And that decision is incredibly tough, particularly if you are in a very good job and with big growth potential. I think it's taking that risk.
And it is a tough step because, I mean, you've got to risk everything. You've got to risk your house as surety. Sure. You've got to suddenly start employing people, paying money, waiting, hustling for work. How did you deal with it?
Sure, I think I was in a little bit more of a fortunate position than that. In that David Cooper, who was my partner, my mentor, my friend, he was retiring from the financial institution, and he asked me to join him. So I think I came into quite a soft or quite an easy landing in terms of that. But yes, we did sign, we did have to hire people, we did have to take that chance.
And Strata, how did you come up with the name?
It's quite an interesting story. We were pressed, we were actually playing golf, and we were quite pressed to find a name quite urgently. I looked down, I used to play with top flight Strata balls at the time, and everyone was using red hat and this and that, so we just said Strata, and it was registered, and we never thought about it again.
Now your business is importing goods from all over the world for customers here. But I mean, how did you see that gap in the market? That's a question people always ask.
Yeah, I think, again, we were very fortunate. I think our timing was fantastic. The business, it wasn't our primary focus when I left to join David. Our primary focus was property. A friend of mine who was going into his own business had orders from a major retailer in South Africa. He wanted it to be funded, but he didn't want to really sign his house. We had a look at the transaction and we decided to fund it. About a couple of days later, we had a little bit of a paranoia attack. We said instead of purely giving him the money, what we wanted to do was we wanted to pay the supplier, we wanted to make sure that the forex was hedged, we wanted to get it on a vessel, off a vessel, deliver it to him, collect the cash, etc. And that's really how the concept came about. We had a lot of hard knocks or experiences to develop into the model that we currently have today.
What kind of problems are there in the import business? I mean, you say that you're paying all the duty and everything. It must be a tremendous risk for your business.
Yeah, effectively the risk is always on our customers. We perform our tasks on their mandate, so it's never for our own account. We don't negotiate what the product is, and it's something that we came up very early with, is that importers want to be in control of their own destiny. So the way that we've designed our model is that it's always our customers stay in control of that import, but we give them much more options. We become a buying group for rates, and we're able to fund the entire transaction.
So essentially, I phone you up if I want to get like 100 tons of tea from Sri Lanka, and
Sure.
you send me an invoice and the goods come, and that's it.
Yeah, essentially we localize the international transaction, so we take all of the different stages out of it. We run the order and risk management, we run the forex hedging, we move the physical cargo where we've got massive economies of scale, so we use those to get better quality of service. We don't use any one service provider, we use an array of those. We pay the duty, the clearing, the forwarding, the customs VAT, we pay the overseas supplier, we give you terms if you want them in South Africa, and we give you one delivered rand invoice when the goods arrive.
And you mentioned Forex there.
Yeah.
That must be a great problem for you right now.
Yeah, Forex is, I suppose, difficult in the whole South African scenario. It's simply too volatile. It's one day, I think today we had about 9.30. A week ago you had 9. It's very volatile. It's very difficult to do business, particularly in categories that carry high duty, because duties are calculated at the rate of exchange on the ship on board date. So you could have covered 8.50, the goods leave at 9.30, and you're then paying duty at 9.30. We have found a solution around that problem. I think we're the only guys who have that solution, so we can actually give our accounts guaranteed landed pricing.
What about the goods themselves? I mean, what are the difficult goods to get hold of when you're in this importing business?
Yeah, I think the movement of certain goods is challenging. Not only the movement internationally or if it's in sea or air, but also the movement within locations in South Africa. I think that certain of our infrastructure, I see that Transnet are doing a great job in terms of big plans, in terms of getting the rail infrastructure up and running. That is a luxury a lot of other countries have that we don't. But I think that there are strides that, they are making strides in fixing that problem.
And what are the problems you face in this import business?
I think the major problem is the currency. I think that government has taken a stand on certain product where they are looking to impose major import duties. I caution against that. While we're not discouraging or we are encouraging local industry, we think it's very important that the government creates jobs and builds a local industry. I think they need to do a lot of work in understanding the industry. So there's no point in putting massive duties in place that are going to be massively inflationary on the public.
And what's the competition like in your importing business?
I don't think there's anyone who's direct competition to Blue Strata in terms of what we've developed. There are a number of people who do parts of what we do. That's part of what makes Blue Strata special. It's one point of contact for an array of services. There's one or two guys who are now claiming to do what we do. I think where they're missing the point is they own a clearing and forwarding agent, or they run Forex. They don't have the impartiality of doing the best for the client by using multiple service providers.
And the future, I mean, how are you looking? Obviously, it's taken you 3 or 4 years to get up and running.
Yeah, I think we've been around for 11 years. I think in the last 3 or 4 years, we've really started to get the traction through what we're doing. We're very sophisticated in terms of our risk management, in terms of our IT development, in terms of, we've launched a platform. So we've effectively merged the financial and physical supply chain on one platform. Client can come in, he can see whatever he's doing. So we're looking to develop that, to take more stages out of that, automate the payments, automate the orders, etc. And the real challenge for us at the moment, where we're sitting, is to really put scale into this business.
And where do you look to expand? I mean, particularly on the continent.
I think if you look around, probably at landed cost in South Africa, there's R1 trillion at landed cost. So if we look around from the watch to the lights to the cameras to televisions and all of that, it is a big importer of product. So we'd like to really put scale into this business, become like a Discovery or an Investec or one of those.
And do you intend to diversify at all now you've made success in what you're doing?
I think that those are some of the hard lessons that we've learned, is that we've sometimes lost a bit of focus by trying to chase certain big deals and trying to get into things we didn't necessarily understand. So it's very much the theme in our businesses. focus.
And the future? I mean, do you want to be on the cover of Forbes magazine driving a Ferrari, or what? What do you see for yourself?
Yeah, I think we want to build something that's sustainable, that's something that a very proudly South African company. It's important. We want to continue our great relationship with our partners Investec, and we want to continue to build this. We're not looking for a quick out in any way, shape or form, and we think we've really got something special and something that's exportable around the world.